right, I got my little 10-pound dachshund right at my feet here in the studio.
What more could you ask for?
All splayed out and got the heat on.
She's right by the heater. It's kind of chilly today.
It's kind of chilly today, isn't it?
For Southern California.
All right, thanks so much, everyone, for joining us here. My name is Justin, and my co-host is Kate.
Hey, everybody.
And we're broadcasting worldwide from Southern California, so thanks for joining us on today's show. And we do shows 4 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we have a good time bringing a lot of amazing guests to you today. We've got an amazing guest today, Chris Kehler.
Yay.
It's going to be a fun one. And we're going to be going to Canada through the magic of the internet.
Well, we are.
And so that'll be a fun show. But I want to let you know, if you'd like to follow us on Facebook, you can do so at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook. And join our community. We'd love to have you join. And
we got quite the little community going. It's pretty exciting.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And
it's people neat to meet some new people.
Yeah, it's really fun. So please join us. And also I want to thank Mike Adams of naturalnewsradio.com for having us on his network. He's got a lot of great health shows on there, and we're proud to be a part of that. So for reference, today is Monday, April 29th, 2013. It's amazing how fast time flies.
Where does it go?
It goes and goes, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And this is episode number 95.
Can't believe that.
Yeah, so you can find it at extremehealthradio.com/95. And we'll have the show notes. No need to take notes. We'll have all the material on that particular show page for you to check out. And if you'd like to leave us a voicemail or a question for one of our guests, you can do so at extremehealthradio.com/voicemail. You can record that right from your computer. So we encourage everyone to do that. It's really simple, real easy. It takes 2 seconds.
Be fun to get some good questions.
Yeah, and so feel free to do that. Or you could email us, Justin at extremehealthradio.com or Kate at extremehealthradio.com.
K-A-T-E.
That's right, K-A-T-E. We had some people asking about that.
Mm-hmm.
K-A-T-E. And this show is brought to you by Amazon.com. And if you ever support us, or if you ever want to support us and you purchase on Amazon, please feel free to go through our link, which is extremehealthradio.com/Amazon. And that will just redirect you to their homepage, and you can purchase. You don't have to buy anything related to health. You can buy anything you'd like, and do that as often as you make a purchase, and we'll get a little commission. That would be a great way to support our work. And I want to thank you to the people who have supported us recently on Amazon. We can't see who buys. We can just see what gets ordered, but we can't see who buys. So I want to thank you.
Thank you
to the people who have supported us. Anyway, let's see. We've got some great guests coming up. We have Dr. Stephen Hines from the Hope Wellness Center, and he's a digestive expert and works a lot with Lyme disease. And his website is thehopewellnesscenter.com. And then we have Billy Best, who's a natural cancer survivor. And you know a little bit about his story now, don't you, Kate?
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
Yeah, he was a kid, I think when he was 15, had cancer, and went through a couple rounds of chemotherapy and decided this wasn't for him. Decided to take off, and he was like a skateboarder, kind of kid, and took a train to Houston and decided this wasn't for him anymore, and it became national news. And so I believe the state required his parents to give him chemo or something, and he's got an amazing story, so that'll be a great show. Then we've got Charles Irwin, and he's going to be on in a little while, and I forget what date he's going to be on, but he's going to be talking about the Constitution.
Cool.
And freedom issues and stuff like that, so that should be a good show. And today we've got Chris Kehler, and this whole idea of energy medicine is really starting to become more popular, and I think it's becoming more popular because it works and it's real. But it sounds really strange and it sounds really odd, and if you're new to this kind of work, you may want to stay tuned and listen to what Chris has to say. His website is chriskehler.net, CHRIS, and it's KEHLER.net, and he's a holistic energy practitioner who uses pendulum and dowsing, sacred geometry and pyramids and all kinds of different means and different things to help people. And he has quantum point technologies, and he's a maker of such things like the sleep bands that has this quantum energy in it. And today we're going to be flying magically through the internet through the wires all the way to Canada. How you doing today, Chris?
Never better, thanks. We just got the internet hooked up in Canada, so we're ready to go.
It just happened a couple hours ago, I heard. That's great. You doing well today?
Never better, thanks.
Oh, awesome. How do you normally start your days these days?
Start the day by getting into the office as early as possible to get started with clients and helping people with health problems, doing lots of research. I do all my own research. I don't rely on anybody else's teachings or books or anything like that. Everything comes straight from source to me, and that's what I work with.
Awesome. And so your story is quite profound too, from what I understand, and how you got into this kind of thing. And let's start out with that and just tell our listeners a little bit about how you got involved with energy medicine.
Glad to. About 6 years ago, my first wife, who I was married to for 13 years, she had a rare disease called scleroderma, and that she went through that for about 7 years before she passed away. So before I was into this type of work, I was in the printing industry. I was running very large printing presses, big Heidelbergs, and I was in management at my local newspaper and doing that type of work. I did that for 28 years. So when she passed away, my financial planner looked at me and says, "Chris, have a break." So I took his advice and I retired. So at 45 years old, I'm sitting in my backyard, nothing to do, drinking beer, and thought, okay, it's got to be a better life. And I've always been into bodybuilding and working out and trying to stay kind of healthy. So I started researching some alternative ways to help rid my body of all of the toxins that I absorbed over my years of printing and to try and get healthy. And the old saying goes, you close one door, another door opens. And I fell right into this world of natural medicine and energy medicine, and just started meeting all different types of people who are working with this type of energy. And I just found that I was a natural at it, and I really excelled quickly, developing my own skills and ways of doing things. And long story short, here I am today. I'm set up in a clinic with my own office, and this is what I do for a living now.
Wow. Isn't that amazing how you can find a talent that you didn't know you had your whole life, just be dormant your whole life, and all of a sudden it,
exposes itself to you?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
I still got to pinch myself every day with the work I'm doing. It is amazing.
Yeah. Wow. That's like someone who knows they're this incredible painter or incredible basketball player, and they don't find out until much later on. It's so cool how these kind of talents just lie dormant in some people, and it's great that you finally discovered it.
Yeah.
It is fantastic.
Wow.
Wow. So now you work with people via Skype, and as well as people that come into your office. And what are some of the main things that you see people for? What kinds of conditions do you see people for?
You know what, Justin? You name it, and I see it. Basically, I work on two different levels. So you work on the spiritual level with working within people's souls and past lives and all the auric bodies and chakra bodies, but also the physical problems. So on a daily basis, I'll see people with just general ailments. Everybody's got aches and pains and sore joints and sore backs and migraine headaches and that type of thing. And that I see on a daily basis, and I'm very, very successfully with one or two treatments able to help people with issues like that.
Wow. And so do people come to you for more serious issues, I'm sure, as well?
Yeah, I've seen people with issues like MS and heart conditions and cerebral palsy, all different types of issues. I do a lot of work, seems to be, on heart issues.
Really?
Oddly enough, a heart issue which somebody would consider very, very severe. It turns out that most heart issues are going to be caused by a parasite. So if you consider that, if you have a dog, of course you're going to deworm that dog once a year or so for a condition like a heartworm.
Right.
Well, why can't a human have a heartworm?
Right. Well, it probably happens all the time. We just don't like to call it that, right? Wow. So you think there's a parasite issue? I'm sure parasites are involved in many things too, not just the heart, right?
Well, if you look at the general causes of all major health issues and chronic health issues. It's going to boil down to a few specific things. Number one is a parasite, like a worm parasite or a single cell parasite like protozoa, leishmania, and those types. Also, you're going to look at mineral deficiencies, and you're also going to look at mineral excesses. Okay, so those are three of the basic ones that I really work with in order to find what is the health problem within a person.
Wow, so it's parasites, mineral deficiency. What was the third one?
Mineral excesses. So let's say you're taking calcium. You're a woman. You're in your 50s, and the commonality is you need to take calcium, otherwise you're going to get osteoporosis.
Right.
Well, what if your body isn't absorbing that calcium and it's being stored within your body in different areas, causing a health problem? The same with iron. It's very common that people feel they need to take iron or are told to take iron. So those excesses, if they build up in your body, are going to cause another health issue.
So how do you go about testing to find out what these particular excesses are in people's bodies?
Good question. What I do is I use my pendulum. Okay. I've become very, very successful with using my pendulum to find the issues. And what I've done is I've developed my own system of charts that I'll use with my pendulum. I'll ask a question. So I'll ask, where is the lowest level of vitality within this person's body? And it'll tell me, let's say a person has got diabetes. It'll say the problem is within the pancreas. Okay, so it points to the word pancreas. So then I'll ask, what is causing low levels of vitality within the pancreas? And it'll tell me that if there's a parasite, if there's too much of a mineral blocking the pancreatic duct, if there's not enough mineral to create insulin, if there's a virus, if there's a bacteria, and that type of thing.
Wow. So how does it tell you that? Because I could see how it would tell you. We're kind of new to this whole, haven't done much with it. I've been involved in health for about 10 years, but never really got into this side of it, and it's fascinating. So how does it really tell you the particulars?
It's simple. The series of charts is like a semicircle, and if you go onto my YouTube site, you'll see a lot of demonstrations that I do with it. And the pendulum just swings back and forth to a specific word, and my guides are directing the pendulum. So, like you said in the beginning, it is a little out there and difficult to understand. But when you get the results, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's difficult to understand it as long as it works.
So as far as I saw on your website, it sounds like you can do this from a distance, that people don't have to be in your office. Does it work the same way?
That's right. Probably 50% of all my clients are all over the world. I've got clients in Australia, London, England, quite a few clients in California and Florida, lots of clients in Puerto Rico. More and more people in the lower states are really getting into this, because if you look at your healthcare system, in the States, you have to pay for it if you don't have any kind of benefits package or plan with your work. So instead of spending thousands and thousands of dollars to go to the hospital, why not spend $50 and call the crazy guy in Canada and get your problem dealt with? Over the phone and over Skype, this energy work works exactly the same as if you're in my office in Winnipeg. So the bonus is you can do this from your desk at work. You can do this from your hospital bed. You can do this from outer space. It doesn't matter. It's just energy, and energy flows to wherever you direct it to.
I love it. I love that. So why do you think that for most people, I believe in this stuff because I think that there's just so much more going on to life than we will ever know. But why do you think, just in the average psyche and the average mind of people, why is this kind of work seen as maybe something that doesn't work or something that's just too weird? Why do you think collectively people have such a closed mind to this kind of work?
Well, that's a good question, and basically the answer is because it's not mainstream yet. Okay. You look at a computer. How the heck can a computer hold all that memory, even if you unplug it? Okay, we don't have to know that because you just plug it in and use it.
Right.
But the same thing with this type of work. The proof is in the pudding. Okay. When it works for somebody, somebody's going to tell somebody about it, and they're still going to say, "Oh, I don't know if I believe that." But once it becomes mainstream, once there's more media attention towards it, once the news channels are willing to talk about it and that type of thing, and they are, I've watched Dr. Oz a couple of times, and he's had people on who do this type of work to a certain level, and everybody's stunned and amazed, and so once it becomes mainstream, talked about more, and that's what I'm trying to do with these radio programs and my YouTube channel and that type of thing, is to bring awareness to it, that it does work and that it can work for anybody.
Yeah, and I think that once people start being exposed to this kind of stuff, I mean, on Dr. Oz, you just mentioned him. I saw I forget who was on his show a while back, and they were talking about the grounding mats and the grounding pads that connect to the earth. And that concept is a unique concept, and most people think, "Oh, that's just too weird." But
well, let's simplify that a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
So the grounding pads, and I have them in my office. It's called an earthing mat. You put it on your bed, plug it into the wall, and what it does is it pulls the ground of the earth into that mat. So basically, what you're doing is you're standing barefoot on the earth, okay? When you do that, you're connecting with all the negative ions that are within the earth, and they pull into your body. Negative ions are the good ions, and the earth is charged on a daily basis by lightning strikes, which add the ions, or ozone, if you will.
Okay.
So when you're standing on the earth barefoot, you now become an open circuit. So now energy is allowed to flow in and flow out. If you're standing in rubber soles, which all our shoes are, then your body is going to be a closed circuit, and those negative ions will build up, the positive ions will build up and can create disharmony in the electricity within your body. We're all electrical beings. If electricity can't flow and do what it's supposed to do, it's going to create illness within your body.
So not only are we offsetting electromagnetic frequencies from cell phones and cell towers, but we're also pulling up those negative ions from the earth through the electrical charge. So it's a kind of a dual benefit then, right?
It is. It very much is. If you look at different communities and cities where they still wear leather-made footwear, and they sleep on the ground, let's say in tents and stuff like that, their rate of illness is very low.
Do you think there's any issues with these grounding mats in terms of, like, I have one here next to my desk, and sometimes my hand will be on it, or sometimes my forearm if I take the mouse off. Do you think there's any issues with how they work in terms of how the feet have the acupuncture points and meridian points that connect to different parts of your body? I've heard people say that the bottoms of your feet are almost like the bottom of a cell phone charger, where it pulls up the energy, and your feet are just kind of like how your foot bath stuff works, where the acupuncture points, I guess, come through the feet, and your feet are almost like the chargers. Do you think there's any issues with having your hand on these things instead of your feet? Do you think you're losing anything?
If anything, it's not going to be as efficient. So let's say if using your feet is going to be 100% efficient, using your hand might be 95% efficient. Ultimately, as long as you're touching it in one way, shape, or form, the charge is still going through your entire body. So there might be some benefit to doing it with your feet than with your hands, but ultimately, as long as you're touching it, I really don't see any kind of big differences.
Well, that's good to know, right, Jay?
Yeah.
Well, I am always so curious about those foot baths. Can you talk a little bit about how those work?
Oh, the foot baths are amazing, and that's how I got started in this whole crazy work. Basically, by placing a mechanism into a bucket of water, and your feet are in the water, the mechanism will put in negative and positive ions. Okay, so right again, we're going along with the ions.
Okay.
So this is going to change the polarity within your body. So let's say your liver is charged negatively and a toxin is charged positively. So now you've got like a magnetic effect. By changing the charge of electricity in your body, the toxins now become charged positively, and they're going to repel from your liver, go into your blood system, and as the toxins go through your blood system, through your feet, because your feet are sort of like in a magnet within the water. They're going to pull out through the pores of your feet.
So all that stuff that you see, all that colored water, is actually toxins coming out of your feet?
Oh, yuck. It is toxins. And if you were to actually smell it, you would smell iron. And your liver does contain a lot of iron. So you can tell that the liver is getting cleansed by the smells.
Whoa. So I was seeing on your site that could be up to 3 years worth of toxins?
Yeah, with the system that I use, it will pull up to 3 years worth of toxins out of your body in a half-hour session.
Oh my gosh. Is there any, like, walking around our town here, there's a lot of, I don't know what they are, little, what do you call them? Like little...
What, worms or?
No, like those places that do they offer cupping and foot baths and these places. And you see pictures, when you walk by the window and there's a foot bath. Is there any place that, can any of these things actually not be beneficial, or can you kind of go anywhere and get some good results from those baths, or do you have to be really careful?
With foot baths, you want to be careful. If you got a pacemaker, you don't want to do one. If you're pregnant or nursing, you always want to play it safe and not do one. But if you have metal joint replacements, okay, let's say you have new metal knees, you don't want to be putting your feet within there. You want to use your hands instead, because as the toxins pass through your body, through the knees, they may magnetically adhere to the knees and could cause another problem. So
Gotcha.
There are a few instances where you either want to adjust the way you do it or not do it at all.
Wow. I've always been so interested in that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. That's
what they work really good for is if you're coming off of anything like chemotherapy or any strong drugs like fentanyl or Oxycontin. If you want to, avoid the chances of being addicted to these drugs or having the drugs stay in your body, then this is going to pull them all out.
What about in the case of like severe alcoholism and things like that, drugs?
Yeah, all that stuff will help too. If you're trying to quit smoking, if you've got drugs in your body, like harsh narcotics,
right?
This is going to pull them all out and help you to get off of them a lot faster.
That is fascinating.
That's really cool. We got to take a short break, Chris. We're up against the clock here. We're with Chris Kehler, and his website is Chris Kehler, and it's KEHLER.net, and he offers a wide variety of services, and you can check him out on his website, and as well as some of his products too. So we're with Chris Kehler. We'll be right back after this break. I do a lot of weightlifting and lifting heavy weights at the gym, and I love it. But there's also another side to working out, which actually helps you increase the energy in your body. As you know, in our culture, just about everything is a stress to our body. It depletes us of life force energy and our energy in general, whether it's, coworkers or getting to work or dealing with difficult family members, things like that. All of these things cause stress and energy depletion in our body. And something like Qigong is a really great way to help cultivate your inner energy, and it's been practiced by people in the East for thousands of years. It's put together by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar. You can find it at extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, which is Qigong, and it's called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. And I highly recommend getting this product. It comes as a physical product to your house with really great DVDs and workbooks on how to do this ancient art of cultivating your inner energy and building that core energy of your body. And it's been practiced, like I said, for thousands of years. So I highly, highly recommend checking it out. If nothing else, just go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, Qigong, and get on their mailing list, because they'll send you lots of free information as well. So check out Peter Ragnar. He looks amazing for how old he is. He's been doing this for like 60 years or something. It's really an amazing product. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. Now that you have your new headset, you can actually hear the music. It's kind of nice, isn't it?
I thought I was hearing the music, but I was only half hearing the music. Now I can hear it good.
Nice. We're having a good time here with Chris Kehler from chriskeller.net, and we're talking about energy medicine and some of the services that he provides. And I want to take this segment to just talk about and a little bit lay the groundwork of how this kind of stuff works, how energy medicine works, how it works at the quantum level, what's happening when when he does some of these services. So Chris, on the quantum level, and I've read some books in this area about 10 years ago, and it just was always fascinating to me how the experimentation would always work in the quantum level, and how the photons would react, and how they would react as if they know what the observer is doing. And it's really fascinating information. And so at some deep level, this kind of stuff is happening when you do your work in energy medicine, right?
Exactly. The best way to explain it, there is a very, very deep meaning to this, and nobody really knows the exact thing that is happening. The best way I can describe it, okay, there's a few different tools that I use, and in a minute we're going to do a demonstration, and anybody listening is going to be able to feel the energy. But how it's actually working is when I have intent. Okay, everybody has intent. My intent is I intend to heal this person who is sick and that type of thing. So I have a pyramid that I use. You can see it on my website. It's a very, very big 5-tier pyramid with different crystals, sacred geometry, magnets, and all types of stuff like that. And when you put the intent to do something, now with this type of work you have to be very specific. So there's universal laws that come into play with this. So when my pendulum tells me I have to remove a virus from the pancreas, well, I have to know which virus, okay? So let's say it's a rotavirus or something. When I hold my pyramid over the person's head or over the phone, if you're working on the phone, I tell it what to do. I'll say neutralize and eliminate the rotavirus from this person's pancreas. So now at the quantum level, the energies are going to go into the body. And the same way an opera singer sings at a frequency and shatters a wine glass, it vaporizes that frequency of whatever it is. So if that frequency is not there, that problem cannot exist. It's really as simple as that. So you're basically telling something to go away, and it goes away. Now, you brought up the point about the observer, and there's been a lot of research on that with quantum scientists, and that's the one big baffling thing, is that if you're actually looking at something, the energy changes. It's like, oh, you can't see me, and it's not going to do anything. Haven't still quite got around that yet, but for the most part, anything that I've worked on, it has worked. Now, there's certain ways, certain words that you can use to get around certain problems, and that all comes down to being extremely open-minded, using your imagination as to what it can be and might be,
right?
And things just work their way around it.
Yeah, it's interesting, because when I read a book, I think it was called Schrodinger's Cat a long time ago, and it postulated this thought experiment a long time ago. I was reading it, and it talked about a story of how there would be a cat inside a box, and you might know this story, Chris, but there's a cat inside a box, and under the experiment, the observer wouldn't know if the cat was alive or dead, because there would be some cyanide inside the box, and there would be a door that would open and close, and so the observer didn't know if the cat was alive or dead. And so the actual expression of the experiment would be to find out whether it's actually alive or dead. And the result they came to was the cat is in an in-between state until you look. And so the cat will actually be alive or dead depending on whether or not you're looking at it.
Whoa.
And that's okay. And that's kind of similar to how the photons work when you do these experiments too, in the quantum level. And I think the work you're doing is tapping into some of this quantum physics that's really kind of sounds like it's really out there, but this stuff is happening all around us all the time, right?
That's right. And you talk about different types of energy. You mentioned the word thought. Now, of course, a thought is energy. Why do thoughts always come into our minds? We sit there, especially as guys, our thoughts will change every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Where does a thought come from? So ultimately, if you took a thought, so a negative thought, if somebody didn't like you for some reason, you stepped on their dog's tail or something or whatever, and this person keeps on thinking negatively about you long enough, and if this person has enough dark energy within them, it could cause a problem within your health. And I've seen that many, many times personally, just by someone's thought. It can cause a problem within your body at the quantum level. This is the basis of all types of black magic, voodoo, and witchcraft spells. It's all thought and intent that is sent out into the universe, and because they're thinking about you, it's going to affect you.
So what happens if someone comes to you, let's say someone comes to you and they're, dragged there by their girlfriend or their wife or whatever, and the person themselves that actually needs the treatment doesn't really believe in what you're doing. Does that have an effect on the results that you get?
I think the major effect it's going to have, now the tools that I use are very powerful, and they're basically going to blast through any kind of doubt whatsoever. I think what's more so happens is that the work, I do the work, and the person feels a relief or their problem goes away, but they're still going to deny, oh, I wasn't that guy, it was something else I did before or whatever. They'll just deny the process. They won't deny the problem is gone.
Right.
They'll more so deny the process.
Right. So they'll just deny the process, but then they're obviously going to be experiencing some sort of benefit as well.
That's right. My philosophy is, who cares what happened as long as the problem is gone? That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Totally.
Wow. So it probably actually aids the process too if the subject really does believe in everything that's going on. That probably makes the whole process happen a lot better, doesn't it?
It'll make it easier, especially with my dowsing, because if I'm trying to read your body and you're blocking me, the answers are going to be possibly not as accurate as they can be. It might take a little longer to find that answer, but that's generally the biggest problem I see with people who are doubtful. But generally, you know what? Anybody who does contact me or comes to my office, they're open-minded anyway. There is no doubt.
Absolutely.
So where did dowsing come from? Was that when they used to try to find water with these sticks?
Oh, yeah. Dowsing is hundreds of thousands of years old. They used to, burn people like me at the stake if they found out that you were dowsing. Yeah. People use dowsing rods to find water and all types of things. So it is very, very old and proven.
So when someone would be dowsing for water, they would kind of walk with, describe that process. They would walk with a couple sticks, and then the stick would actually be energetically drawn to wherever the water was under the ground.
Oh,
is that what
it is a couple of L-shaped copper rods, and copper conducts electricity. And we're basically looking for the electricity within the water, because water conducts electricity. So, and the intent within your mind is to find water.
Okay.
So as soon as you walk upon a water source, the rods are going to either cross in the middle or move and do something. So that gives you the indication that you're on top of water.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's just, it's fascinating to me, and it's such a weird thought, but really, I mean, it just seems to be, it should be so much more normal. I mean, this kind of stuff it shouldn't be as weird as we think it is, really.
Yeah.
Like I said, it has to become mainstream, and then people are going to accept it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the way that this stuff is going? Is this the next new medicine? I mean, is this the way that you think that it's going to be mainstream, or?
I think it is, because there's more and more people who are coming forward. Like I really haven't seen or heard of too many people who are coming forward with this as much as I have been. A lot of people are scared, okay? Oh, if Health Canada finds out what I'm doing, they're going to shut me down. They're going to lock me away and put a gun to my head or something. A lot of people have a lot of fear, and fear feeds a lot of the negative forces that are around us. So for me, I got zero fear. Now, of course, I'm always careful. I don't say that I can cure cancer. I don't have the cure for diabetes. I don't cure or treat anything. What I do is I move energy in your body so it may help your health problem. I mean, you have to be careful what you say about all this. Right. But ultimately, working on a spiritual level, people seem to shy away from it a little bit.
Yeah, it all depends on what language you wrap it up in, doesn't it?
Yeah, you just got to be smart with it.
Yeah. So what do you think is going on? You mentioned a few minutes ago with the pyramids. What do you think was actually going on? I've heard lots of different theories about how they built the pyramids, and I've heard theories about how they moved those stones like they were balloons, and What do you think is going on with that shape, and what is really going on there?
The shape of a pyramid, it has to have the right angle of a certain degree, and a few different things going for it. And basically what happens with a pyramid is, we'll talk about ions again. So positive ions will start at the top, and as they slope down, the slope of the pyramid, they turn to negative ions. So now it becomes a bit of a power source. And now if you look at the great pyramids of Giza, and those types of things. And there's pyramids all over the world. All different cultures have got their form of pyramid. It is a relic of an energy source. Okay, so there's been, my understanding, 6 different seedings of humanity, and we're number 6. So if you look back to different times of humanity, they had the ability to make this power source. And the pyramids emitted an energy just much like a Tesla coil does. So it was like free energy. Energy can be everywhere, and that's the basis. That's why pyramids are there. They're not burial chambers by any means. How the pyramids got to the way they were, well, your guess is as good as mine. I'm quite sure nobody lifted those big heavy blocks manually. They had to be done by some kind of different technology, of course.
Wow.
Yeah, they're really just fascinating. And so you think they're kind of a relic of an energy, like a transducing of the energy that comes from God knows where.
That's right. If you look at Stonehenge and all these different, Machu Picchu, all these different places, they're all just relics of different civilizations that used to be here.
So were the pyramids, were they attracting energy and then transforming it so people could use it, or what do you think was going on?
Well, with the pyramids, there used to be a gold stone cap piece on the top, and then underneath water would flow. So now water, you have electricity. Gold conducts electricity. It would create this type of energy. That's basically my best guess on exactly what's going on with them.
Wow. And so people can create these things, or you have, and as long as you know the right angles, and then that could work with the ions and things.
Correct. I have a tool maker in Alberta, Canada, who makes all the tools for me, and he knows all of the angles. He knows all the sacred geometry, and also the certain metals that go with them. Within my pyramids, there's pure gold, there's pure platinum. Platinum and gold work together to create a certain energy. Now, if we got a minute or after the break, we're going to give you a quick demonstration on how the energy feels, and you're going to feel it on your end of the line.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that after the break. But so now it's important that these things are made with gold and platinum, or are you just trying to make the best version of these pyramids?
Well, of course, you want to make the ultimate best. There's a lot of people who will make pyramids out of copper, and copper is conductive, so copper is not a bad thing to use. But in this case, if we're trying to heal somebody with it, you want the absolute best that you can have.
And so what are the little round pieces you have on your pyramids?
Those are all quartz crystals. And quartz crystals, or silica, is an ultimate healer stone. It's designed to do any kind of healing whatsoever.
Yeah, I've heard of people putting those little silica quartz crystals in their water.
Yeah, there's so many different uses for crystals and stones. It's basically whatever your imagination wants to do with them.
Wow. We used to watch a show here in the 80s called The Land of the Lost. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, I was around.
Maybe that's what they were doing with the pyramids. They were always running into the pyramids for help.
They were onto something more than we knew.
Yeah, they were onto something. We're with Chris Kehler, and we're having a good time. And when we come back, we'll talk about the experiment he wants to do, and maybe a little bit about radionics, and just have a good time. And make sure to visit his website, chriskehler.net. That's K-E-H-L-E-R, chriskehler.net, and you can check out his different services on there, as well as his different products. So should be a good time, and we'll be back with Chris Kehler after this break. So a while back, we had Magda Havas on our website, and she is an expert in EMF radiation and the dangers of cell phones and all of this electromagnetic frequencies that we're being exposed to. If you want to listen to that, you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/25. And it's really profound when you start understanding how great of an impact all of these cell phones and microwaves and cell towers and phone lines, what they're doing to our blood blood matrix and how they're changing our blood sugar levels and this dirty electricity that runs through our walls and our wiring of our houses. And there's all kinds of electromagnetic pollution that we're being exposed to, and it's having an adverse effect on our health. And just listen to that episode 25 with Magda Havas. And we are very proud to be connected up with a website that sells really great EMF products. It's called Less EMF, and you can find it at extremehealthradio.com/LessEMF. LESSEMF, and that'll redirect you over to their website where you can purchase some great products that will help shield you from these dirty electricity and electromagnetic frequencies. And they have meters, all kinds of different meters that you could test how polluted your house is and your office space is, as well as all kinds of different ways to protect yourself, like computer shields, cell phone shields, grounding mats, things to put over your bed. And it's just, they've got lots of great stuff. So we're proud to be connected with them. And in time, we're going to have the owner of this company on our website and talk to him about this stuff. So if you're interested in protecting yourself from EMF, this is the best company we've found online to help you do that. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/LessEMF, and you can check it out in our store as well. And thanks for listening. Let's get back to the show. Okay, you just got your dates. I got off the rebounder, and
we don't waste a minute here.
We don't waste a minute. We're having a good time with Chris Kehler. I hope you're enjoying the show so far on energy medicine and some of the things that he's into. It's really fascinating to me how all this stuff works. And Kate, I think you had a question for him too, right?
Yeah, I just have a quick question before we do our experiment, because I'm excited about filling that. You obviously are so knowledgeable, and you understand a lot of the, backgrounds of how things work and the scientific stuff. Is there any particular thing, whether it's a service you offer or just something that you can't yourself wrap your mind around, that it works and that you're just amazed by?
Not really. If I do it, I understand it, because if I don't understand it, it's not going to work for me. So that's kind of a roundabout answer for that one.
Sure. Yeah, I was just curious because I figured that seems to be the case with what you're explaining, and I thought, I wonder if there's just anything that's just so mind-blowing that you don't understand why it works, how it works. So that's interesting.
Of course, I'm always, trying to find a really good explanation as to why this all works, but you can get really cerebral about it and talk above people's heads, and then nobody understands it. So
sure.
Yeah, or you could spend half your life trying to figure out the science of it, and then you can waste that time and not be helping people.
Exactly.
That's so true. Yeah, can we do the experiment? I'm curious.
Let's do the experiment. So what I'm going to do, I've got an energy ring. It's about 13 inches across. It's got some different spikes in it. And what it's designed to do is pull out negative energy out of your body. Okay, it's a ring that I use to begin with to prepare your body for using the pyramid. So what I'm going to get everybody to do, whoever wants to participate, if everybody could stand up,
okay,
and as long as you're touching the computer or the radio or whatever you're listening to, this is going to start to pull negative energy out of your body. Now it's going to take maybe 30 seconds or a minute for it to activate.
Okay.
But what everybody's going to feel is possibly a heavy pulling sensation from your legs and lower back. You might feel off balance, like you need to grab onto something, otherwise you're going to fall down. You might feel a tingling within your fingers and hands, or something like that. You might feel warm or cold somewhere. So we're going to give that a couple minutes to do this work. It's been very successful with other radio shows I've done. So
excellent.
Let's do it.
I'm standing up right now.
So let me know when you start to feel something, and you'll know it. It'll be like, whoa, what is that? And I've got a picture of this ring on my website. You can have a look at it. But this works very, very well for removing negative energies. And that's negative energy you pick up on a daily basis from driving your car, from watching the news, anything negative that you absorb on a daily basis.
I will say my hand, sorry I got to reach down to the mic, my hand feels a little bit like it was like falling asleep kind of a little bit, but not that very much, but a little bit it was.
Okay, it's going to be subtle, but you're definitely going to notice something. And the longer we use it, of course, the more intense the sensation gets.
Could it be that your heart starts racing a little?
It might, yes. If we're pulling some negative energy out of your heart. Most people feel something a little different.
Well, I just feel it a little bit in the ends of my fingertips, like they kind of went to sleep a little bit.
Okay, so you got the tingling sensation.
Okay, that's something.
If we did this long enough, you would definitely feel some kind of motion. You would feel a heaviness and that type of thing. So that's a quick example of how that one works. So now I'm going to use the big pyramid.
Oh, okay.
Same thing. You can sit down for this one if you like.
Okay.
So now I've got the pyramid over the microphone, and we're throwing energy through the wonders of the internet. So with this one, you might feel hot or cold. You might feel a tingling on top of your head, or you may feel some type of overlay of energy over your body. So we're going to give this a couple minutes.
Interesting.
This is funny. Is this something that just... Is it happening to us individually, or is it happening in the room? Because our dog's going crazy right now.
It's probably happening to everybody. That's the intent, is to broadcast it to anyone who's listening. And I could direct it to just one person.
Wow.
Yeah, the dogs are very, very sensitive to this.
She was just laying down, and now she's just all over the place, jumping up on both of us.
Yeah.
Dogs love this energy. So, can you feel that at all?
I don't. Do you?
I'm not feeling. No, I felt something on the first one, but not on this one. Maybe I'm.
Yeah, it might just take a little bit longer, but generally, you're going to feel some kind of tingling happening.
You know, I feel right now. I feel just like I got. Wow, that is really weird. I feel like this heat.
There you go.
Wow, that's weird. Almost like it's kind of similar to when you are about to go on stage and you feel that kind of hot heat where you might sweat or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I want that. I don't have it yet.
You don't have it.
I want some of that heat.
So basically that's it. And that's going to give you a general feeling of what might happen, and that things can happen over a long distance.
Wow.
So I've worked on people in Brisbane, Australia, and within seconds after, starting the work, they feel it right away. I have a student in London, England, who is just bouncing off the walls every time I talk to her. So
really, distance is not really anything in terms of energy medicine and how the world works. it's only an issue with technology and things, but with this kind of thing, it doesn't matter if you're 2 feet away or if you're 2,200 or 2,200 miles away.
That's right. There's really no difference in the energy. It travels at the speed of light, and it works. All I can say, it's incredible. I've had so many success stories working distance with people, and my business just keeps on growing day after day.
Wow, that's so great. So what are some of the more challenging issues you've had to deal with?
Well, of course, very severe chronic problems like MS, cerebral palsy, rheumatoid arthritis, those types of things, because they're very, very chronic, they take a lot longer to move out. Now, if you really have to take a look at what people who have those types of chronic illnesses. Okay, so if you have 10 people in the same environment, one person gets MS. Well, why does that one specific person get MS and not everybody else? So that's when you have to start looking at all the spiritual type problems, like entities and negative energies and black magics, and all that type of thing comes into play and causes this person to be more receptive or to these types of energies and these types of problems.
It was interesting. You said receptive. It's funny. We were just talking with, what was her name? Hannah Crum. And she was on our website, and she said something that was really fascinating. And I've been involved in this kind of stuff for, like I said, 10 years. And, I thought I'd heard a lot of things. But she was talking about how she makes kombucha, and she teaches people how to make kombucha. And she's talking about the role of beneficial bacteria. And her thought was that when I meet someone, or let's say, I'm standing at the sink doing dishes and someone's behind me, but I don't know they are, she was talking about how the bacteria in my gut actually somehow energetically communicate with the bacteria in someone else's gut, and that's what gives us that
feeling that someone's behind.
That sixth sense or whatever that is. And
there is a consciousness within everything. Parasites have a consciousness. Bacteria, viruses, they all have a consciousness.
It's amazing. And so maybe some of this stuff is working with the bacteria in our guts, or I guess there's no way to know, but it's just amazing, isn't it? All this kind of information.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So, go ahead, Kate. Did you want to say something?
Have you successfully been able to treat people with scleroderma?
I haven't worked with somebody with scleroderma yet, and of course that's going to be a day for me when it happens. But when you look at all these different diseases and illnesses, they give you a name, okay? And the biggest one is fibromyalgia. You got pain in your body that nobody can really diagnose. They call it fibromyalgia, okay?
Right.
But what I do is I go down to a deep level and I find out what is your fibromyalgia, what is your scleroderma, okay? So, anything from Lyme disease is very, very big. Viruses, bacterias, parasites, all those things, if they get into a certain area of your brain, let's take Lyme disease for a minute. If that bacteria of the Lyme disease gets into certain areas of your brain, now you've got schizophrenia.
Oh.
If it gets into your joints, now you've got severe arthritis. If it gets into your lungs, now you got COPD. So depending on where it goes and what it does, now of course they get this Lyme disease gets direction from spiritual type of entities and that type of thing. There's a very, very deep area that we could go into that if you want to blow your mind, that's going to blow your mind. But of course, all these things have direction. They have consciousness, and they get told to do certain things. So what I do is I find out what is your diabetes, what's causing it. You got 5 people with diabetes. You can have it for 5 different reasons.
Wow. So here's something too. I was curious to ask you. For years now, I've had these little on my thumb. These little flat warts. They don't really grow. They stay there. They're really odd. I've had them burned off. They keep coming back. I was on vacation a couple of years ago with my family, and my brother was kind of laughing, and he goes, "Well, why don't you start talking to them? Tell them to go away. Tell them to leave your body." And I'm like, I've never heard that, but I started doing it, and I don't know if it's whether I didn't believe it or what, but it still has. They're still kind of hanging out. They don't go away. But what do you think? So that's kind of along the same lines of, do you think you can communicate with your body by, like what you were saying earlier, like you tell something to leave, whether it's from a distance or whether it's a frequency type thing. Do you think people have the power within themselves to self-talk it?
If I can do this, anybody can do it. It's just a matter of believing in it and knowing the words to say, knowing the intent. So if you know what's causing those warts, is it a virus? Is it a parasite? Is it a fungus? There's a few different things that can cause those types of warts. If you just, keep telling yourself that your body is clean and pure of any parasites, viruses, anything like that, then eventually your body is going to respond and it's going to be clear of all those things.
That is so fascinating to me.
Well, it makes sense too, because we're listening, or I guess reading that book, Messages in Water, and where the water responds to our thoughts and our prayers and things. And the crystalline structure of the water changes based on your intent. And so if it can happen with water, which is a physical thing, it seems like it can happen with other physical things inside our body, because essentially we're just water as well, right?
We're 80% water.
So that same thing would happen.
Exactly.
Wow. So is that sort of what's going on with radionics and that kind of work that you do? Is that
radionics is another cool way of changing energy. Radionics works solely with frequency. Everything within your body vibrates at a certain frequency. So if you have a radionic device, mine works with vials of water, and that water holds a frequency. It vibrates at a frequency of a virus, of bacteria, of parasites, whatever. So when you take a person's frequency sample within a bottle of water, you put it in the device, and then you put the area of their body, so let's say your pancreas, and let's say there's a virus. So you put the virus within there, you flick a switch, and what this machine will do is it'll neutralize any frequencies of the virus within your pancreas, so they don't exist anymore. It works kind of the same way as working with the pyramid. It's not so much intent as it is mechanical, but it is something that works. Now, what I like to do with these devices is I use silicone wristbands, and I can charge a silicone wristband with a frequency to tell your body to do something. So let's take sleep, for instance. With my quantum point technology sleep bands, when you wear this wristband, without a doubt, you definitely sleep a lot better. I sell a lot of them. People are amazed by them. They don't know how they work or why they work. It just works.
Wow.
So if you look at, there's a lot of different wristbands on the market, okay? And generally they all come from China. They're all made and somebody finds them and then they start marketing them. These wristbands are all charged with negative ions. So right away, again, it goes back to the ion thing. When you wear something charged with negative ions, it's going to make your body stronger. It's going to give you better balance, let's say, or whatever. So that's where the whole wristband phenomenon comes from, is negative ions. But I go a step further, and I've developed a few different frequencies that work really well for sleep, for anxiety, for all different types of things. I can custom make them to whatever you need.
Wow. And so now... Isn't the wrist an access point, like a meridian point as well?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, so I'm sure that helps to deliver the frequency to that access point?
Of course, and you want to wear a wristband on your left wrist, not your right wrist, because left is receiving, right is giving.
Oh, wow. So what does that mean in terms of how this works?
If you want to receive the energy, of course, so if you wear it on your left wrist, your body's going to receive that frequency and that energy.
Interesting.
What would happen if you wore it on your right? Just nothing?
What I've seen is that you're going to get the same effect, but if you want to be completely optimal with this and do it 100% beneficial, wear it on your left wrist. You're still going to get good effects on your right, but just go with what it doesn't matter what wrist you wear it on. So might as well wear it on the left.
Wow.
Do you think there's any issues with people and parasites? Because you were talking earlier about how these things all have like a consciousness, and they all have a desire to do something, and they all have, an ability to change your physiology. Do you think there's an issue with people having too many parasites, or are these something that we should just live with?
Oh, you know what? When I do a live blood analysis on my clinic, my pendulum will say that there's a parasite problem within this person. Then we'll do a live blood, we'll look, and we'll see parasites. No, everybody is going to have a parasite in their body. It's just a matter of, is your immune system strong enough to keep it at bay so that it doesn't cause a problem, they don't start reproducing and create a nest and then create a bigger problem. That's the thing. If you drink a glass of water out of the tap, you're going to get some kind of parasite. If you eat undercooked meat or raw fish like sushi, you're going to get a parasite. I don't care how clean that meat is, you're going to get a parasite. But now, does your body have the proper components like sulfur? Sulfur within your body will cause a parasite not to be able to hang on to your intestines. So that's very important. Is your immune system strong enough to fight them and that type of thing? So everybody's going to have a parasite.
So say that again about the sulfur and how it works with parasites.
Well, what sulfur helps to do is to line the inside of your gut with sulfur, so that parasites can't hang on. For some reason, the parasites don't like it, and they won't hang on in the case of, let's say, a hookworm or something like that.
Oh, okay. I'd never heard that before. That's interesting. So people might want to consider taking MSM or some high mineral or high sulfur foods.
Oh, correct. Yes.
Wow.
So now, does your foot bath, does that have the ability to remove parasites?
It does have the ability, if those parasites are loose and floating free in your blood. Of course, it's going to help to remove them. But ultimately, you know what? I tell everybody, if you've got a health problem of any sort, do a parasite cleanse. There's two different good ones out there. You do it for your dogs once a year, every 6 months you do a heartworm parasite cleanse. Do it for yourself. There's a lot of good ones out there you can find. And you know what? Just be proactive with your health.
So with your live blood cell analysis, you can see parasites that people have and whether or not they're an issue with each person, right?
Correct.
And so parasites can cause all kinds of different health issues, which you can then treat using energy medicine.
That's right. With parasites, though, I like to use the energy medicine, and I also like to use a parasite cleanse. Because oddly enough, a parasite can change its frequency if it knows it's under attack.
Oh, gosh.
Really?
Shapeshifter.
That's their consciousness, exactly.
Wow.
Wow. So if you're doing something like with the radionics machine, the parasite can understand what frequency you're using and then change that.
That's right. It has a defense mechanism.
What in the world?
Well, I guess it makes sense. I mean, if everything has a defense mechanism, right? I mean, I've never heard that before, but I'm sure that is true because every creature on Earth has a defense mechanism of some kind.
Well, let's put it in perspective. So you've got a bowel problem. You go in for a colonoscopy, and doctors do their thing with their instruments, and they don't see anything because that parasite knows it's under attack. It's going to take off and go through the cell wall of your intestine and go into your body cavity.
Wow. Golly.
What kind of cleanses do you promote then people do for this parasite?
There's two different cleanses that I generally use. One is diatomaceous earth, which is crushed fossil shells. The molecule of diatomaceous earth is the hardness of a diamond. So as it passes through your body, it's going to cut up all the parasites.
Wow.
Another one is a product from Dr. Christopher. It's not me. It's actually a guy named Dr. Christopher, and it's a syrup with different herbs in it that work to kill parasites.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about Dr. Christopher. He's an herbalist, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got tons of really great products. I think we'll put a link to his website on this show page. I think it's drchristopher.com or something, but you like his products for parasites. His
work really well. I've tried quite a few, and these ones are simple to take, and they work really well.
Do you sense when you've done it, how do you know the difference? Do you see parasites coming out of you, or do you just feel different, or your aches and pains and problems go away?
Yeah, all of the problems start to go away, and quite often you go to the bathroom, you look in the toilet bowl, and you see rice noodles.
No.
Those aren't rice noodles.
Oh.
Wow, especially since you haven't eaten rice in maybe a few years.
Then you got to wonder.
Wow.
That is incredible.
So those might be larvae or mini parasites themselves or whatever.
Yeah, they're going to be macro parasites. They're not microscopic. They're macro, and those are the ones that are causing you a big problem.
How do people treat, when you were speaking earlier about dogs having heartworm and stuff, are there natural ways people do that, or do you have to take them to the vet and they get treated like a normal dog?
Well, generally, I do a lot of work on animals also.
Oh, you do?
Oh, sure. Anything living. I've worked on plants. I've worked on houses. Clear negative energies out of houses. Everything is energy, and everybody has the right to experience this.
Wow.
So what kinds of things do you do for dogs? I'm sure you do like a lot of heart issues for dogs, heartworms and things?
Same thing for dogs. If you take large breed dogs, they've always got joint problems. Just by adding certain minerals can help to eliminate joint problems. Silica is a big one for calcium absorption. If you're not getting enough silica, your body's not going to absorb enough calcium to sustain your bones and joints. So that is a very big one. And then if there's something within the animal's joints, let's say uric acid crystals or virus, the same way as I work on a human, I just move out that virus.
So you can do that from a distance on animals too. They don't have to come to your office.
Actually, with animals is a little easier. I can use a picture.
Really?
Yeah.
And people have used those things with the radionics machines, right? They put a little picture.
That's correct.
Oh, well, we've done that, right, Jay?
Yeah, we've done that one time, and yeah, it's amazing. Those things, I've heard a lot of amazing things about the radionics machines, and is it true that there are lots of government entities that don't like these devices?
Oh, 100%. There's a lot of different entities that work within governments to manipulate them to do something that they want them to do, and it all revolves around the whole black magic and witchcraft realm. It's big.
Wow.
I know this is silly, but do people often refer to you as their voodoo doctor?
I've been called many things.
Because the guy that we went to see a couple times for this kind of treatment, everybody calls him the voodoo doctor, and we laugh. He's such a good guy. Yeah, we're like, oh, it sounds so funny to people just off the street,
Yeah. Wow. So, Chris, what kinds of things, as we're wrapping up the show here, what kinds of things are you working on? Do you have any projects in mind, or what kinds of different projects are you working on?
Well, right now, radionically, I'm working on a wristband to help keep mosquitoes away, mosquitoes and flies. And in Winnipeg, it's a huge, huge issue. So once I can develop that, then that's going to win me a lot of notoriety, especially in the northern parts of Canada.
Yeah.
But energy-wise, always looking for that elusive problem to help people a lot faster with chronic illnesses and be able to eliminate cancers and MS and all those types of things to bring people back to a normal way of living.
Wow. Golly. So you got a lot of stuff in the works.
My brain never stops.
I bet.
Well, it's probably good you have the sleep thing so you can turn your brain off at night,
Actually get a break.
That's right. Well, thanks so much, Chris, for being on the show and sharing your work with us.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
Wow. So what do you think about Chris Kehler?
I enjoyed that guy. I can't wait to I feel like with every guest, I just want to have him on again and again. We've had some awesome people.
I know. You really want to just talk to him for a long time, huh?
That guy's fascinating. Talk about what did he say? He was 45 when he kind of started in this journey.
Right.
I mean, the guy sounds like he's 25. And it's just amazing. Again, a testament of at any age, at any level, what you're capable of creating, and in his case, in this healing process, he's being used in such an amazing way, and I just find his story fascinating, and he's brilliant. He's super educated.
It's funny because his story was similar to what I think most people would do, where after his first wife died, he just starts drinking beer and gets depressed.
Sure.
But the problem is that most people stay in that.
Right.
And they just stay in that cycle, that rut of depression and
right.
And
negative energy, and look what that does to you.
Yeah, look at what that does.
I just really admire him and how he not only turned it around for himself. I mean, it would have been an amazing story by itself if he just would have become this different person and chosen not to let that stop his life. But the fact that he's turned it around to help probably thousands, if not more people, and just what he was capable of, learning and receiving. And
yeah, that was weird. That first experiment that we did, I felt just like a slight tingle in the hands, but I wasn't sure if that was because I got up quick or something. I wasn't sure, and I'm kind of skeptical by nature, but I believe in this stuff. It's just really weird. But that second time, it was really weird. It wasn't until about 3/4 of the way through him doing that I felt that
warming,
weird warming sensation. Yeah, it was almost like I described it, how you're about to go on stage and talk, and you get that really kind of flush, like you could feel the blood moving.
Because
weird.
you go on stage so often.
I'm a keynote speaker.
You're a TED speaker.
I love that I don't even know how you know about that, TED.
Hey, I know more than you could ever
You're
imagine.
Switched on.
No, but I wanted to feel it, and that's why I'm excited maybe to do some more work with him, because the only thing I felt on the first one was my heart started fluttering a little. Like I was kind of nervous, going on stage for my keynote speaking.
Right.
But the second one, I didn't feel anything. But I found it interesting that Maggie was going crazy, the dog.
Yeah, she got up right then. And
started moving around, jumping on us from person to person. That was interesting. And then with the heart kind of starting to beat faster for me is the same reaction I got upon my last acupuncture treatment.
Oh.
When he put a specific point on a meridian on the top of my head.
Right.
And my heart did the exact same thing. So that's obviously both energetic movements. So I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Golly.
So yeah, I can't wait to do more with him. I really enjoyed him. I'm so grateful. He's a pleasure.
Yeah, this kind of stuff I think is the future of medicine. I think it's the future of healing.
I do too.
And the great thing is that you can do it yourself, and that's really what the powers that be don't like. They don't like people that can take care of themselves, because then where's the money going to go?
Absolutely.
It's going to stay in the hands of the person who's treating themselves.
Yeah. And God forbid you have all these healthy, happy people walking around.
Yeah.
We wouldn't need anything.
I know. We wouldn't need, yeah. So I think that this kind of stuff is just really at its infancy. You're starting to hear a little bit, like we talked on the show, on Dr. Oz and things, and the grounding mats and things like that. But I really think it's the future of how people can heal. Because, I think in our Western world, we just don't get the fact that this is energy. not I was going to say physics. Scientists get it. They understand everything's energy.
Right.
Especially the quantum scientists, like the quantum mechanics people and the superstring theory people. But this kind of stuff is happening at the subatomic level. So why is it somehow all of a sudden not happening on the macro physical level?
Sure.
It does, but we just don't see it. So our culture is seeing as believing everything. So we obviously just don't believe it because we can't see it.
Right. And I think people are a little, wary of the opening your mind, quote unquote. Like, I think that scares people.
Right.
And that doesn't mean anything like he was talking about. It's not voodoo. It's not witchcraft. It's how basically the world is set up to work. And if we can just tap into how that all works together, I think there's extreme power in that. But.
I think so too.
Well, I like the voodoo doctor. He's cool.
The voodoo doctor. Is that what they called the George?
That's what they called George.
Yeah, the voodoo doctor.
The voodoo doctor.
Man, thank you everyone for joining us here on this episode of Extreme Health Radio.